My sister-in-law tried to turn my husband against me and falsely accused me of stealing, so I gave her a lesson she'll never forget. My sister-in-law, who is 29, is trying to turn my husband, who is 29, against me, a 28-year-old female. My significant other and I recently eloped. We decided a big wedding, like the one we had been planning, was not for us. My family was fine with it from the start. I have a great relationship with them, and they understood where I was coming from, complete acceptance. My husband's family was less accepting, especially his mother and twin sister. For years, it was just the three of them before his mother remarried and had a few more children. Because of this, his sister and mother are still very dependent on him. They were hurt because they were looking forward to everything that comes with a wedding, the weekend away, pretty dresses, us paying for them to stay in a nice hotel, fancy food, and free drinks. Not necessarily because we were getting married. Hopefully that gives everyone a small idea of how selfish and entitled they are. This all occurred at the beginning of July. We decided that after our quick elopement, we would extend our already planned European vacation from 1 week to 2 weeks, from July 25th until August 9th. Initially, we were going to board our pug and have a neighbor keep an eye on our condo, but being gone that long, we thought the best idea would be to have someone stay there. My sister-in-law suggested that she house sit for us. She would be cheaper than any other option, we could trust her, and she loves our dog. It seemed to be the perfect solution. Shortly before our trip, my husband informed me that his sister was thinking of moving to our city from hers, Springfield to Chicago, and would be looking for a job while staying at our place, hoping to interview while she was here. Not a problem. She has been really inconsistent with work, and maybe a change of scenery from living with her mom is what she needs. It was never discussed that she would be staying longer than the 2 weeks or would need to. The day we left, she showed up on the Amtrak with 3 large suitcases. I was already frazzled, so I didn't think anything more than, wow, and I thought I was an overpacker. In hindsight, that should have been my first red flag. We left and had a fantastic vacation. We checked in a few times, and everything was just great at home. We got home, and everything was clean, well taken care of, and my pug was still a fat, lazy lump of fur. But I love him. So, she did a great job and is deserving of the money. We got home late on the 9th, so we didn't see her until the 10th. I had the day off, but she never asked for a ride to Union Station or gave any indication that she was returning home. I figured she must have arranged it with my husband. I went to bed early without asking what was going on. I went to work as normal on Tuesday, assuming she had left, and came home to her sitting on my couch, eating something and watching TV. I called my husband, and he said she needs to stay for a few weeks. She told him she has a job lead and another interview next week. If she doesn't get the job, she'll go back to Springfield but would like to continue the job search from our place. I'm not happy that he gave her permission to live here without speaking to me, but he is blind when it comes to his sister and mother. This is something we need to continue to work on. I agreed to an extra week, as long as she focuses on the job search. Fast forward to last weekend, August 15th. My sister-in-law has completely taken over my condo in this short time. She monopolizes my living room, eats all of our food, then complains when there is no food left. She tells me she doesn't want any guests using her bathroom, aka the guest bathroom, when they are over. She has brought over some guy to have sex with and has very loud sex with him while my husband and I are trying to have dinner. She makes catty comments in general toward my husband about how I seem to run the household and tells stories about how he was always a pushover growing up. I decided I couldn't put up with it any longer and talked to my husband about it. He agrees but acknowledges that with his mother and sister, he has no backbone and knows he will cave. So, I talked to her. I told her that while she is a part of our family, we feel she has taken advantage of us at this point, and I need to know what her plans to leave are, because this is no longer working for me and my husband. She told me that my husband said she could stay as long as she needs, and that she wasn't planning on going back to Springfield at this point, as her relationship with her mother is codependent and dangerous. She then insinuated that if I sent her back, my husband would turn against me. I told her she has 1 week. I know my husband, and her threats will not work. I can promise her that she does not want to make him pick between us because he will see what she is really trying to do. That didn't go well at all. Things quieted down, and she had her interview on Monday. She has been ignoring me for the past few days, but my husband says it went well, and she is anticipating getting the job. He said she spoke of staying with us, but he held strong, saying that unless something crazy happened, she would have to go. If she had to start the job ASAP, we could possibly help her find a place. We bought her an Amtrak ticket for Saturday morning. Wouldn't you guess it? Something crazy happened on Friday, just before she had to leave. I got a text from my husband, "We need to talk when you get home. I'm worried you relapsed." Some context: I am in recovery for kleptomania. Since I was a child, I stole just to steal, not because I needed something or had no money, but just because. I have not stolen since before my husband and I started dating, so about 3 years, and have done extensive therapy throughout the years to deal with this. I've been very open about this with everyone, including my mother-in-law and sister-in-law. My mother-in-law called my husband on Friday morning, telling him that his sister called her in tears on Thursday night. She noticed that some of her clothes had gone missing, and one of her rings was gone as well. She took it upon herself to search my room, finding the ring on my dresser and searching through my closet, where she found the clothing. She told him that they understand my job is stressful and that having his sister staying with us added some stress, so they weren't upset and wouldn't take any further action, but they were truly concerned. His sister found several pieces of clothing with tags still on them, buried in my closet by her clothes. They believe I have started shoplifting again, in addition to stealing from her. I did not relapse. I did not buy those clothes, and I believe either they were clothes she purchased, and it was just the perfect circumstance, or she purchased them to set me up. I came home to an intervention of sorts. My sister-in-law and husband sitting in my living room with her clothes, ring, and the stolen clothes all laid out. She has him completely believing this. My husband looks distraught. He wants to help me and fully believes I have relapsed. His sister volunteers to stay with us. She is a certified alcohol and drug counselor and feels that some of her skills could help me. My husband is heartbroken. He feels he caused this by bringing stress into my life, taking all the blame off his sister. I am at a loss. The past 30 to 6 hours have been a nightmare. Whenever she is alone with my husband, she keeps planting seeds of doubt about my recovery, hinting that I seem to be wearing clothes that are above my pay grade, but I don't have any debt. So where is this all coming from? When we talk, I can see the wheels of doubt turning in his head. Is she stealing again? Is my sister right? I have tried to explain to my husband, and it seems he now believes me, but he cannot imagine his sister would try to frame me like this. He knows his mother and sister have issues, but to him, they would never try to hurt him, especially by attacking me. To me, it is obvious that his sister and mother have always been able to manipulate him to do whatever they wanted. Had I not been in the picture, his sister would have moved in without issue. Since I wasn't going along with her plan, she had to do something to disrupt it. I don't know how to handle this with her or with my mother-in-law. I know my husband and I can recover from this, but I'm worried it will be at the cost of his relationship with his sister and mother. Sorry, my questions and asking for advice were not clear. How do I broach this with my husband in the long run, based on their past behavior, especially his sister's? I'm nervous this is going to become a long-term problem between us. How do I communicate to him, you pick me, or I walk? How do I mitigate this now, getting her out? Do I bother trying to clear my name with the stealing? I don't want to get overly defensive. After reading everything, I gave my husband an ultimatum. Either his sister left that night, or I did and would leave him. I'm not going to be put after his manipulative sister and mother in the pecking order. It was her or me. At this point, he agreed she would go, but we both knew it would not be pretty. We decided to offer to pay for a hotel and Amtrak ticket if she refused at first, hoping this could be a bargaining tool to get her to agree. I showed my husband the previous thread, and he initially said nothing but went directly to our guest room and packed everything of hers up quickly. He then apologized for everything. I told him that we both know this is more than his sister trying to claim residency in our condo, and we have to resolve this, or it will lead to the end of our marriage. He agreed to go to therapy with me and, if need be, go to therapy on his own. He doesn't want to let this destroy our marriage. We had a really frank discussion about my recovery. I explained to him that if I was stealing again, it would be obvious, as we would have random things around the house that we didn't have before. I wouldn't have been able to restrain myself to a few shirts if I relapsed. He was really supportive and apologetic. He trusted his sister due to her experience with addictions, but seemed to understand that this was just manipulation on her part. She ended up showing up later Sunday, letting herself into the condo like it was just a normal day. It took her all of a minute to see her bags. My husband pushed her bags out into the hall, and when she tried to get them, he shut them both out there. I left them alone because he needed to do this on his own without me. I heard her crying, and I know he offered to take her to a hotel and pay for her train. She told him to go away. After a bit, she started throwing a fit in the hall and was sobbing loud enough that the whole floor could probably hear. I could make out her saying that he was abandoning her in her time of need, and that I have to stop controlling him. She's his family. It took every ounce of restraint for me not to go and slap her, but my husband reminded me that she is trying to agitate me. Eventually, my neighbor couldn't take it anymore and texted me that he called the good old Chicago PD to get her to shut up. Cops came a little later. They spoke to her first because she was currently camped out in the hall. She told them she wanted me arrested for kicking her out of her home and for stealing from her. She said I was trying to steal her purse. It was where she dropped it prior to my husband pushing her out, a ring, and a few outfits. Plus, I was stealing from stores. I told the nice officer about the whole incident, including her allegations. My husband backed me up that she was setting me up and that this was all really family issues, not legal. At this point, they told her not only had she attempted to file a false police report, but she was disturbing the peace for no reason. She told them she had nowhere to go, but after telling the police she lived in Springfield and had come up here to house sit, they noted her residency claim. The cops told us that because she claimed to have no money, had no car, and her residence is so far away, we had two options. Because we can't just kick her out with nowhere to go, either we let her stay until she can arrange to go home, meaning we get her a train ticket tomorrow, or we take her home right then and there. There was only one way they could guarantee she would be gone tomorrow morning. When my husband and I talked about it, we were concerned that letting her stay an additional night would just make this worse, and we would be right back where we started. We opted to drive her home. She agreed to this without much issue. I think the cops made her realize that her little plot was over. The beginning of the drive was pretty awful. She cried for the first hour, laid the guilt on thick. He caused her so much stress. He doesn't care about her. Can't he see what I'm trying to do? She's only looking out for him. They're twins. Their bond is stronger than ours, and I don't want kids. So how could he want to stay with me? I'll admit I fed into her a bit with some name-calling. Delusional, stupid, insane. But I had reached my breaking point. Not my proudest moment. After a while, my husband and I put on an audiobook and just ignored her, which worked. She slept the rest of the time while my husband and I were both just wired with anxiety. By the time we got to my mother-in-law's house, it was around 2 in the morning, and we dropped her off without incident. My mother-in-law called us as we were about 15 minutes away, telling my husband that I am a cancer on their family and that he had to stand up to me and choose his family for once. Wholly delusional. He told his mother that he picked me and is sorry she feels it has to be one or the other. But she made that choice, not him. On the drive home, my husband poured everything out. Apparently, his childhood abuse goes so much further than he has shared before. His sister would regularly physically and mentally torment him, but when he would tell his mother, she would blame him. He agreed that he thought the distance was enough to deal with everything, but he needs more than that. He also needs to come to terms with the fact that his relationship with his mother, sister, half-siblings, and stepfather may be over. He was scared to admit how bad it was, and I hate that it took his sister behaving like this for it to come out. It's absolutely heartbreaking. We took the day off, slept a lot, watched some Rick and Morty, went to a fairly productive therapy session, and are eating some awesome pizza. It's hard to sit back and realize what our relationship went through this weekend, but I have faith that we can each work on our relationship and ourselves. When we turned my husband's phone back on, there were several voicemails and numerous text messages from both his sister and mother-in-law, apologizing for everything. My husband and I have talked about him going completely no contact with both his sister and mother. I think changing our phone numbers is a good place to start, but he is apprehensive. He is worried about emergencies, but I don't want to give them any further opportunity to sabotage our relationship. This is absolutely the right move, correct? I'm thinking of finding him a specialty therapist to assist with this, but I don't know where to start or what questions I should be asking with such family issues. Where should we start with this? I could actually use some advice going forward since everyone was so great before. We had a few peaceful days since returning home, got back into our routines, went to therapy, and got my husband set up with an individual therapist on his own. We didn't end up changing either of our numbers for other reasons, but agreed that if they couldn't respect our wishes, we would just have to block their numbers entirely. It wasn't an issue until this past weekend. On Friday, my husband's younger brother, who is 16 and living at home, called him. He wanted to give him a heads up that his mother and sister were coming up here to visit some family member. They decided to bring him along so he could see my husband. Even he knew that this didn't smell right. My husband freaked out. He realized they were going to manipulate him into seeing them by using his younger brother as bait. He was right. I was out of town by this point for a bachelorette party, leaving my husband alone and not at all prepared to deal with his family, and I wasn't able to get home until Sunday. His younger brother called on Saturday to let my husband know that he would like to see him. They had some time before they headed home and were in our neighborhood for some reason. My husband and his younger brother got to hang out for a few hours in our home. They played some video games, ate some takeout, and just had a nice afternoon of brotherly bonding. His younger brother told my husband that he doesn't believe what his mother and sister have been saying, but that they have done nothing but bash me on their social media pages. He pulled their pages up on his phone and was able to give a screenshot of them to my husband. One of them said, "Well, that woman has managed to brainwash my son again. Please pray that Jesus will deliver him from the devil that he lays with. She is nothing short of a cancer on my life, and I worry that this will drive me to illness. Pray for us all. I just can't, even with this. She's not even religious." My husband kept it together for the rest of their visit. At the end, both his mother and sister attempted to come up to the condo, but he was able to keep them downstairs, only speaking to them outside. His sister then dropped a bombshell on him. She's been severely depressed and needed him. She miscarried recently, and it has been awful for her. She just needed her twin to comfort her. He feels immensely guilty. Neither of us had any idea this happened. I got home early yesterday, and I could read the conflict on his face. We fought about it. My frustration with his mother and sister is at its peak, especially after seeing the barrage of Facebook posts. He agrees that those are over the line, but says most are from his mother. His sister had two that were passive-aggressive and clearly aimed toward me, so it wouldn't be fair to hold her accountable for those. I disagree. She made these choices that got us to this place, and now she has to deal with the consequences, regardless of whatever trauma she may have endured that spurred this on. Honestly, I don't necessarily believe she really had a miscarriage. Our fight consisted of name-calling, him calling me insensitive and cold, me calling him naive and manipulated, and bickering, which was a lot, considering we normally only fight over whose house is better from Game of Thrones. We spoke after our fight yesterday and were able to move on from it, but today, we both could feel tension, and it was only amplified when he told me he was texting his sister to check on her. I feel like we have regressed, and now I am back behind his sister in the pecking order when I feel I should be first. I deserve to be first, right? How do I handle this? Is it best to jump into couples therapy? This is something we both think is a good place to go, but not necessarily right now. Do I suggest we go no contact until we get a clearer idea? I don't want to feel guilty if his sister really went through something and I take away her support, but at the same time, I need to put my marriage first. Part of me wants to confront my sister-in-law and tape the conversation because I know her, and I know she won't be able to resist gloating to me. My marriage is my #1 priority at the end of the day. How do I convey that I need it to be my husband's too, without coming off as selfish? No, that title isn't a joke. It's not a poor attempt at humor. Helen is dead. She died on Saturday, alone from what we can tell. We won't know for some time due to toxicology, but it appears as though she mixed the wrong medication with the wrong amount of alcohol and passed in her sleep. It's been weird. My husband is sad, very sad, which is to be expected, but he's handling it well. His sister is planning all the arrangements. We are debating if we will attend. Part of me is against it. There are all the stories I have shared with my people here, and even some I have not shared about how she has just been this persistent infection in my life. Why honor her at all? But then part of me looks at my husband, his siblings, and my family of in-laws, and I see some of their pain. Even though she really was awful throughout their entire lives, she still had some rare moments of being mom. Personally, I feel angry. I guess I'm angry that she got to go peacefully in her sleep. Sure, her life was a mess, but she deserved that after everything she put everyone through? I didn't want the universe to be done serving her the karma she so rightfully deserved. I'll have to figure that out, but I guess my username rings true a bit today. Ding dong, the wicked witch, Helen, is dead. I hope the afterlife is like the good place, except extremely hot, so she is constantly sweaty and gross. Sorry, I'm petty. Thank you for all your words of support. Honestly, this has been a very emotional several days. We have decided to attend the services this week. We flew back to my husband's hometown yesterday. I'm taking a short break for myself to process what happened. Helen wrote death letters for all of us. They were in her safe, and my sister-in-law handed them out last night. I've decided to post mine and write a short response to her. If you are reading this, I have died. I hope that by this time we have reconciled, and we have both seen the errors of our ways. I never gave you a full shot. I've been going to therapy frequently, and I've come to see how much damage I have caused to my relationship with my son by isolating you. You are not a bad person, and you seem to be a good partner to my son. I don't always agree with your choices of dress, lifestyle, and personality, but that is why God makes us all unique. We have both made mistakes in our relationship, and for any pain I may have caused you by trying to be a good mother to my son, I am sorry. I should have seen you just wanted to make him happy. I hope I can look fondly back on this in 2 years and laugh at how silly we were. You and I should be friends. We are both beautiful and good mothers. I am sorry we have been at odds because you did not see eye to eye with me. Take care of my son and babies. I'll be watching over you. I am sorry that we could not have a better relationship for my husband and our children. I look at the relationship my husband has with my mother, even now in our time of grief, and wish I could have had that. Someone who could have been my ally, friend, and a second mother. I can honestly say that I tried for years. I did my best to show you that I wanted to make it work with you, that I wanted to be there for you and have you be there for me. But every step of the way, you fought it. You punished me for existing. You hatched plots against me, embarrassed me on many occasions, and manipulated me until the very end. I can say that I had genuine fear for what you might do to me on a regular basis. No person should live like that. I do not accept your apology. Your passing does not mean you deserve it. You were evil, cruel, and disrespectful to me on a consistent basis. I will not miss you. I will not share stories of you with my children. You do not deserve that. Most of all, I will help my husband recover. He deserves healing and peace after a lifetime of hell. Go to hell, Helen.